Welcome back, golfers. Today we're walking through Riviera Country Club, the historic home of the Genesis Invitational and one of the most demanding, strategic, and honest tests in championship golf. Riviera doesn't overpower players with length or spectacle. Instead, it rewards commitment with restraint. Fairways are narrow, greens are exacting, and hazards are positioned not to punish bad swings, but bad decisions. In this walkthrough, we'll break down every hole from 1 through 18, showing where smart players gain strokes, where mistakes compound quickly, and why this course consistently identifies the best decision-makers on the PGA Tour. Let's head to the first tee. Hole number 1 is a 503-yard par 5 and one of the rare opening holes on the PGA Tour that genuinely invites aggression, but only with discipline. Playing from a tee nearly 75 feet above the fairway, this downhill par 5 rewards a confident, committed drive. A well-struck tee shot can set up a realistic birdie look, and for the longest hitters, even a chance to reach in two. But Riviera wastes no time introducing consequence. Out of bounds guards the entire left side, while trees and rough pinch the right, making direction just as important as distance. The smartest play is a controlled driver or strong fairway finder that stays in the fairway and preserves the angle on the approach shot. Hole number 2 is a 471-yard par 4 that demands both length and precision from the opening shot. The hole bends gently to the right, but the margin for error is razor thin. Out of bounds lurks down the entire left side, while trees and rough tighten the corridor on the right, forcing players to commit to a straight, powerful tee shot under immediate pressure. The challenge doesn't ease on the approach. The second shot is typically a long iron or hybrid into a heavily bunkered green, where misses are punished quickly and recovery shots are anything but routine. Position in the fairway matters, not just for distance, but for controlling trajectory and spin into a well-defended target. Hole number 3 is a 434-yard par 4 that features another subtle dogleg right, but the real challenge often comes from the prevailing wind, which frequently blows straight into the player's face. Distance alone won't solve this hole. Controlling launch and curve is essential. Off the tee, a slight fade is the preferred shape, holding the fairway and opening the angle into the green. Any miss that leaks too far in either direction quickly loses position and makes the approach far more demanding. The second shot must carry a large, imposing bunker guarding the front of the green, forcing players to commit fully to their number and trajectory. Coming up short is not an option, and long leaves a difficult recovery from thick, rough, or awkward slopes. Hole number 4 is one of the most demanding par 3s players will face all week. At 236 yards, club selection can vary dramatically. Depending on wind conditions, players may hit anything from a long iron to a fairway wood, making this hole feel more like a par 4 tee shot than a traditional par 3. The real challenge waits on the green. It slopes severely from right to left, meaning even shots that find the putting surface can quickly feed away from the hole. A large bunker guards the green, punishing shots that don't carry with conviction or miss on the safe side. This is a par 3 where commitment is mandatory. Conservative swings tend to come up short, and cautious targets can lead to brutal two-putts. Hole number 5 is a deceptively demanding par 4. This 434-yard par 4 features a modest dogleg left, but the prevailing wind often blows straight into the player, adding effective length and complexity. While the hole turns left on paper, the preferred tee shot is often a controlled fade, holding the fairway and setting up a cleaner angle into the green. Overdrawing the ball can leave a blocked or awkward approach, while misses to the right quickly lose position. The best drives are those that resist the wind, stay in the short grass, and preserve distance without sacrificing control. From there, the approach demands precision, especially with wind affecting trajectory and spin. Hole number 6 is one of the most recognizable and cerebral par 3s in championship golf. Measuring 199 yards, this hole's defining feature is unmistakable. A bunker embedded directly in the middle of the green, effectively splitting the putting surface into distinct sections. Distance control and correct side placement matter far more than simply hitting the green. Land the ball on the wrong side of the bunker, and players face an uncomfortable choice. Chip over sand from the green, or attempt a long breaking putt that must navigate around it. Neither option is stress-free. Club selection is critical, and conservative targets can quickly turn into defensive pars or worse. Hole number 7 is a 408-yard par 4 that looks manageable on the scorecard, but it's one of the more treacherous tee shots on the course. The preferred landing area in the fairway is defined by a subtle hump, and how the ball reacts when it lands there can be unpredictable. Catch the wrong side of that contour, and a well-struck drive can be kicked into a fairway bunker or, worse, out of bounds. That makes club selection and precise placement far more important than sheer distance. Players who choose restraint off the tee and prioritize control are rewarded with a straightforward approach. Those who chase extra yards risk watching a good swing turn into immediate trouble. Hole number 8 is a 433-yard par 4 that presents players with a true risk-reward decision off the tee, thanks to its split fairways. A tee shot played down the left side offers safety and a clear landing area, but it leaves a longer middle iron approach into a narrow green where precision is mandatory. The more aggressive option is a drive down the right fairway, which sets up a shorter approach, but with a catch. The second shot must carry a barranca that guards the front of the green, demanding confidence in both distance and trajectory. Choose the correct side based on your strengths, the wind, and the day's pin position. Hole number 9 is a demanding finishing test to the outward 9. At 458 yards, this par 4 asks for a committed tee shot, as fairway bunkers sit perfectly in modern landing zones and can quickly turn an aggressive drive into a positional mistake. Choosing the right line and controlling distance off the tee is critical to setting up the approach. The challenge intensifies at the green. 2 bunkers guard the right front, tightening the effective landing area and placing a premium on both distance control and direction. Misses to the wrong side leave difficult recoveries, while shots played cautiously short risk-finding sand. Hole number 10 is one of the most famous risk-reward par 4s in golf. At just 315 yards, players are faced with a clear decision from the tee. The aggressive play is to drive the ball all the way to the green, but the target is narrow and nearly surrounded by bunkers, demanding precise distance control and a committed strike. Miss slightly, and birdie chances can quickly turn into a scrambling par, or worse. The conservative option is a layup to the left side of the fairway, leaving a controlled wedge approach into the green. That play removes much of the immediate danger but gives up the chance to gain a stroke on the field. Hole number 11 is a classic Riviera par 5, one that rewards smart positioning far more than raw power. Measuring 583 yards, this hole offers a clear scoring opportunity if players execute 2 well-placed shots. A controlled tee shot followed by a strong second sets up a straightforward pitch into the green, making birdie very achievable. But Riviera builds in a decision point. A wayward drive brings the barranca into immediate consideration on the second shot. From there, players must choose between laying up short and accepting a longer third, or taking on the carry to clear the hazard and keep the birdie chance alive. Hole number 12 is one of the most physically demanding par 4s on the course. At 479 yards, this hole often leaves players facing a long iron approach, even after a solid tee shot. There's little room to manufacture birdie chances here. Success is defined by controlled ball flight and exact distance management. The green itself is narrow and exacting, with a deep bunker guarding the right side that severely punishes shots that drift or lose spin late. Missing right typically means a difficult sand save, while misses long or left can leave equally challenging recoveries. Hole number 13 is a demanding par 4 that places accuracy at a premium from the very first swing. Measuring 459 yards, this hole features a subtle dogleg left and typically plays into the wind, adding both length and pressure off the tee. The driving zone is tightly defined, with a barranca running down the left side and trees lining both sides of the fairway, leaving little margin for error. A precise tee shot that holds the fairway is essential to set up a manageable approach. Miss left, and the barranca comes quickly into play. Miss right, and overhanging trees can force a recovery rather than an attack. Hole number 14 is a classic optical illusion par 3 that quietly punishes misjudgment. At 192 yards, the hole's wide green can make the flagstick appear deceptively close, tempting players to underclub or take on overly aggressive lines. In reality, the green sits elevated, requiring a fully committed strike to carry the trouble. Guarding the front are 3 large, deep bunkers, perfectly positioned to catch shots that come up even slightly short. Once in those bunkers, saving par becomes a significant challenge due to the elevation and firmness of the green. Hole number 15 is a brute, the final and most demanding of Riviera's into-the-wind par 4s on the back 9. At 487 yards, this hole features a sharp dogleg right that immediately forces a decision off the tee. A long, controlled drive that holds the fairway is rewarded with a manageable approach, but the wind often magnifies even small misses. For the longest hitters, there's temptation to cut the right corner and significantly shorten the approach. That aggressive line can pay off, but it brings real risk, as the margin for error is slim and recovery shots are rarely simple. Hole number 15 is a true test of power, restraint, and shot shape. Hole number 16 offers a rare moment of opportunity late in the round. At 166 yards, this par 3 plays shorter than many of Riviera's one-shotters, yet it demands absolute distance and trajectory control. The green is small, and simply finding the putting surface gives players a realistic birdie chance. Miss the target, however, and the hole shows its teeth. Steep-faced bunkers surround the entire green, leaving little margin for error and making up and downs far from routine. Attack with confidence, but miss with caution. Hole number 17 is a demanding test and the longest hole on the course. At 590 yards, this par 5 rewards patience and precise execution rather than reckless aggression. 2 well-played shots position players for a controlled approach into one of Riviera's most exacting greens. The green is 2-tiered and slopes from back to front, placing a premium on distance control with the approach. Finishing above the hole leaves treacherous downhill putts, where speed control is far more important than line. Proper positioning turns it into a birdie opportunity. Poor placement turns it into a 3-shot grind with no easy recovery. Hole number 18 is one of the most iconic finishing holes in all of golf. Dramatic, demanding, and unmistakably Riviera. This 475-yard par 4 begins with a blind tee shot to an elevated fairway, immediately testing commitment and trust. Players must pick a precise line without a full view of the landing area, knowing that position off the tee is critical to handling what comes next. The approach is long and exacting, played downhill to a kidney-shaped green set below the clubhouse. Surrounded by a natural amphitheater, the green amplifies both the pressure and the spectacle, especially late on Sunday. Distance control is paramount, as the contours can quickly turn aggressive approaches into nervy 2-putts. Riviera Country Club doesn't overwhelm you with length or spectacle. It wears you down with decisions. That's why Riviera consistently identifies the best players in the world. Not because it's flashy, but because it's honest. If you enjoyed this hole-by-hole breakdown of Riviera Country Club, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments which hole you think is the toughest test on the property. We'll see you on the next tee.